All right, good morning, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Empowering Morning Conversations. So, you know that we are coming here every morning and we work with mind, body, emotions, and the energies so that we can have a life that we love, a life of ease, and a life of joy, and a life of glory. So, today we have a very, very special surprise for you. We have with us Dr. Anindita Chakraborty. I've known her for a while now, quite a while now. So she's a medical doctor. She is an ICU specialist. She works in a hospital, and she is as passionate about access consciousness as I am. And she completely believes in all the healing methodologies of access also, and many, many things that we are doing together. So I thought I'll invite her, and she very graciously agreed to address this group. And now let us see what surprise that she has for you. So here we have Anindita. Welcome, Anindita, and on to you.
Thank you, Uncle. I'll always refer to you as Uncle. That's been from day one. Thank you for being this inspiration. 18 people from all around the world at different time zones turning up together. This definitely requires something, and thank you for being that undefined something for all of us. You've definitely been that inspiration for me personally, and of course on this group as well. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your participation, your enthusiasm. When Sukhdeepak uncle asked me to do this morning conversation, and we were discussing what topic I would like to do, I told him that let us do something that has been affecting all of us in different ways, and it affects either us or our loved ones in one way or the other, and that is disease. So today's morning conversation will be about undefining the definition of disease. What do I mean by disease, the definition and the undefinition? So as uncle introduced me as that my basic training is that of a doctor. I did my MBBS and then I went on to do my MD, and my super specialization is in intensive care. To put it in perspective, it is that I deal with all kind of critically ill patients. I deal with maximally cardiac patients, and other than that, I also deal with other organ failures like liver failure, kidney failure, all these kind of failures we deal with in the ICU. We also deal with a lot of patients who are in their end of life stage, requiring end of life treatment, requiring families to take difficult decisions whether or not to continue treatment or when it is the right time to go aggressive and when it is the time to not go aggressive. Medical science has got a lot of data to back that up, but finally what I see is that it's always a struggle, because when you are deciding about life and death, and especially for somebody you care for deeply, it's never an easy decision. And as much as we all like to believe that we want to play God, when it comes to playing God, nobody really wants to do it. Everybody wants to pass it on to somebody else, and usually the buck always stops with people like me. So here, access consciousness has been a huge contribution to my life because it has put a lot of things in perspective for me. It has put a lot of, with these tools, like, the first thing that I heard was all of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. And I thought in my head that bullshit, that is absolute and total shit, because that cannot be what is ease and what is joy and what is glory. But over a period of time, I've come to see this, that it is what we are finally, it is not today what may show up as ease, joy and glory for me in my life may be very different from somebody else's. But it is the fact that it can show up for each one of us in the way we desire it. And there is no right image, no right picture for ease, joy and glory to be. My ease, joy and glory can be in near life and handling near life death conditions in the ICU. For somebody, it may be, a walk in the park. For somebody else, it may be working with children. It can be different things for different people. So today, my request to all of you would be to step out of everything that you have been told about health and disease so far, and to participate in this conversation like you're hearing about disease for the first time. If you were to have a 5-year-old vocabulary of disease, what would that be like? So first of all, the first thing that doctors tend to do is tell you what your problem is, right? Now, that is to a certain extent is also required because, say, for example, you're suffering from certain symptoms, and there are always a constellation of symptoms. Somebody has to put a tag on it so that we have a point of reference. So disease always becomes a point of reference. Okay. Now, when that point of reference has happened, then you go on to like, okay, I have been diagnosed a diabetic. I've been diagnosed to have XYZ problem. Okay. When that tagging happens, then starts the contribution to the tagging. However, what do I mean when I say contribution? You will call up your loved ones, you will call up your friends, you will call up your colleagues, or they will call you to find out about your well-being, and you will start discussing. And when you start discussing, then starts, oh, आपको पता है मेरे चाचा के साथ भी ऐसा हुआ था, उनको भी ऐसा हुआ था तो सर्जरी करना पड़ा था, वो डॉक्टर ने किया था, आप उनसे बात करिए, वो डॉक्टर ने बहुत अच्छा सर्जरी किया था. या तो okay, this is what had happened. I know so and so who had so and so problem, and it was similar to you. Please be careful. Now it all comes from a space of utmost concern. It comes from a space of total concern, total caring. But what we don't realize in the process, what we are doing is that whatever fear, whatever, problems the person may be having at that point, we are still adding to it. So the point of reference just grows. That theek hai, ab main diabetic hu, to this is what is going to happen for me, and this is what I have to do. That again takes us to that point where we are further defined. Our lives get defined by it, our choices get defined by it, our identity to a certain extent gets defined by it. One of my professors had this saying, I mean, he used to say this a lot, that, how much does our handicap define us? Because there are countries, there are cultures across, it's not there in India that much, but across in Europe, there are these countries where they give you, if you are handicapped, okay, they will give you a handicap allowance. You get paid because you have certain handicap. So while it comes from a great sense of taking care of people who are not equally able, it also promotes that culture of disability. Because if somebody is getting paid for having a certain problem, and it's a two-edged sword, by the way, there is no right answer here. The territory I'm going into, it's please do understand that I'm not looking for the right answer here at all. I am just bringing to your attention an energy that is prevalent. So when we are looking at this entire culture, which is based or an entire identity or an entire person's life, which is based around their handicap, how invested are they to stay in that state? Because, it is for most of us, and this is where we get totally blindsided, is that our assumption is people want to get the better. People want a better life. And ask any individual, they will tell you that they do, but how many truly desire it? That is where, you get caught that, okay, you say you want it, but do you truly desire it? Do you truly want to show up every day and create that life that you desire? And that is when my conversation of the comfort of disease comes in, because I have used disease or being unhealthy as a reason as a excuse to sometimes bail out of work. I've done that. We all do it. Some of it is very innocent, but then when it goes to a little more, like say, for example, you're getting more attention from your family, when you are getting, I see this a lot of times, that there are people who come to get admitted in the hospital, and they are getting so much attention from the nursing staff, from the doctors, everything, that they don't want to leave the hospital. They like it in the hospital. It is absolutely unimaginable to think that somebody would like staying in a hospital, but it happens because they don't get that kind of attention at home, and they start liking it unconsciously, maybe very subconsciously, but you can see that they like it more in the hospital than they like it anywhere else. So this is one more thing that you require, or rather we all require to take, that what is our investment in having the physical problem or the physicality of disease. Also, the first time I went to Rotary with Uncle, these two ladies, wonderful ladies. They are both wheelchair bound, and they did this amazing awareness camp about this awareness. They did a little skit, and the skit was all about how disability, like if you are disabled, how difficult it is for them, for a differently abled person, especially if you're on wheelchair and everything, how difficult it is for them to get around in it. Now, again, I'm not coming from a space of not acknowledging the problem. But what I also could see is that what they were talking about was acknowledging special needs. There is this, our government, our administration goes into that, oh, it's like that ostrich phenomena. The ostrich puts its head in the sand and thinks that nobody, because it can't see anybody else, nobody can see it. So our administration handles disability that way, that if we ignore it long enough, it will go away. That is not what at all I'm saying, that you don't need to ignore the problem. But also, a lot of times what happens is that we go into too much of condoning the problem, where a normally abled person will change their life, will change their entire way of living so much to accommodate the differently abled person, that in the entire conversation, the normally abled person's entire existence will go out of context. Because somewhere disability is that person requires more than the other. So again, not an easy conversation and no right answers here. But where I look at is inclusivity. The more we strive towards an inclusive society, the more we strive towards an inclusivity of things, where, yes, acknowledging somebody's limitation and yet not going into trying to condone it, trying to, treating everybody equal way, whether or not, while being empathic towards their limitations, not having to further it or condone it. That is where I feel that the entire conversation with disability, rehabilitation, and physical rehabilitation should go towards. However, pretty idealistic, but then we are not discussing policies here. We are just going to discuss how it affects our lives and how it affects our day-to-day lives. So going back to the conversation of disease. So yes, you've had your consultant's opinion, you've had your close one's opinion, and now you are in the definition of the disease. That how diabetes is, or how hypertension is, or how this particular situation should go. Once you have the definition of disease, it will dictate every aspect of your life, whether you like it or not. Unconsciously, subconsciously, you also will be using it to your advantage or disadvantage as and when you choose. And this is something that you require a huge level of presence to even know, because I know for a fact that I gained obesity around I became obese around my tummy, And I used to go to the gym, and whenever the instructor would be like, do something that concerns bending over or bending backwards, I would be like, oh no, I have this pain here. Like, yeah, big tummy, difficult to bend forward, backward, sideways, but not impossible. And how much am I? And I'm just saying something as normal as lack of flexibility. Imagine when it goes to something even more and more important, more and more severe. I would use that in different ways to avoid pushing myself and pushing my body. And I've done that, and I'm like, well, this is starting somewhere. So where is it that we go with disease? Now, when I usually have this conversation with people, people are like, okay, so basically means I don't have to ever get a diagnostic test done. Can stop my pills. I can never see my doctor. Apart from being very bad for my business, I also tell them this, that see, it's not about, again, we are not ostriches. We are not going to put our head in the sand and pretend that the problem doesn't exist. But we are also not going to feed the problem so much energy that it rules our lives. So that sweet spot where you acknowledge it, but you do not allow it to run your life. And that is where even being in the interesting point of view about disease, interesting point of view that I have this point of view, interesting point of view that I have a problem. Because somewhere we love our problems too. We all like to have problems. It gives us the sense of doing something, solving a problem. But if you're a problem solver, what will you have more? Problems. So that I feel is a great tool of access consciousness, where they say being in the interesting point of view of it. That is one thing I truly propose to people to use a lot whenever they are being in this situation where they are in the definition of things. Again, this conversation is not about getting off the pill, not getting that intervention done, not getting the surgery done. It's not about that. But it takes it a step forward in also being that, okay, if I require it, if I've been advised first to see that how. So this is the thing with, where I think a lot of doctor-patient conversation is getting lost, is that somewhere doctors assume that they know better. I see we are more informed. We have set of information, set of data that gives us that little edge over the rest of the people, but never to say that somebody doesn't know their body. Because I am yet to meet an individual who doesn't have body awareness. If you have a body, you are aware of it. So this body awareness is something that the mainstream medicine is totally not acknowledging. And I think that is our biggest pitfall, that we disempower people to be aware of their bodies. And that is wholly and solely the way doctors are trained worldwide, and especially in India, where they don't have the ability to empower anybody else, much less themselves. They are so data driven, they are so driven by agendas, that this entire idea that bodies have awareness, the being who's in the body will also have awareness of the body, that we totally exclude the body, the body's awareness of itself, and your awareness of your body, first of all. So this was the second part of it. The third part of it is that it is not to decide that, okay, now that I have my own awareness, nobody else's awareness is correct, or I cannot be contributed to. There is the mainstream medicine, and then there are a lot of parallel and alternative modalities. There is nutrition plays a huge role in our lives. Movement plays a huge role. All these things together can come to treat a condition where we go into holistic wellness. And there again, I always see my colleagues scoffing at it, because the minute you say holistic, they are like, oh, airy fairy. And then I also like to watch them when it comes to a situation in medicine which they have no answer for. And that is when they start, हाँ आपको अगर कोई पता है जो कुछ कर सकते हैं उनसे बात करो. But then that is a huge pill to swallow, because when you have spent 10-15 years of your life studying a particular subject and struggling and truly working night and day, you want that validation that you can solve all problems. And that again brings me back to my opening statement that everybody imagines playing doctor, playing God, but nobody truly wants to do it, because you don't want to have all the answers, and you cannot have all the answers. So now going on forward, like, okay, so I have basically now presented a problem. Probably a lot of this has personal implication for you. For some people, it may have a professional implication or both. I've just presented a problem to you. Now, where do we go with this? Because I have seen Uncle do these sessions day a lot, and I always see him bringing people to that point where you have a tool to engage with, because it's finally about engaging with your own life. If you don't know, if today I leave you with the problem and I don't give you a tool to engage with it, then there is no point to it. So my first and foremost tool here would be, of course, being in the interesting point of view of everything, including your point of views, everybody else's point of views, everybody else's projection about what your disease and disability should be or should not be like, and not getting into the fight of it, not getting into the proving of it, that, hey, you think I cannot do this, let me show you that I will or I will not do. Because a lot of our lives, a lot of our choices are based on proving. Honestly, when you are living your life to the greatest extent of what you desire it to be, that itself is the biggest proof of your being. There is no other proving that you require. The second thing that I would like to say over here is that always be open to contribution. Allow the universe to contribute. To people who believe in God, who are religious, spiritual, or agnostic, however your belief may be, this is what I always say, that contrary to the mass expectation, the universe is not here to get us. The universe is here, it's a magnanimous universe. It is a kind universe. It is a universe that is here to support you, not come to get you. If you allow this universe to contribute to you, and I'm learning every day, will be surprised how much we can be contributing. And that contribution can be from anyone, anything. There is no degree, there is no label, there is no definition to what that contribution may be. And the next thing with disease is, of course, as much as we can undefine it. This is a very it was a very eye-opening moment for me. WHO gave the cutoff for blood sugar levels a couple of years back. I forget exact number of years. They had this guideline where it was pre-diabetic, diabetic, and severe, and then of course this thing. But I am mostly concerned with pre-diabetic and diabetic. Pre-diabetic is somebody who has a very high probability of becoming a diabetic. Diabetic is, of course, somebody who's already been diagnosed. WHO changed the reference values of diabetes. When they did the change of reference values of diabetes, a lot of people who were considered pre-diabetic were not even pre-diabetic. They were normal. So it's like if you were born, if your age-wise you are 10 years earlier, then you were a pre-diabetic. Now with the change of guidelines, you are no longer a diabetic. So this is, and also through the process of COVID, we saw this. What was taken as severe symptoms initially and guaranteed and required hospitalization Later on became, oh, you can handle it at home. Of course, we knew we could handle it at home. But the mass panic, the mass problem, the mass hysteria made us sure that we all ran to the hospital at the same time. So also, how much are we willing to be controlled by the definition of disease? Because this is one fantastic and ultimate control factor that organizations, establishments, institutions will have over your life is with numbers. I play with numbers every day. Not to say again that we are not going to look at the problem. But if you have an awareness, if your doctor is telling you, no, have this medicine, you have to have this medicine. I always say this, that it is your right to question. Not from what we go into is doubt. That, oh, I read this news in the paper, so-and-so doctor this, so-and-so to their patient. What if this person is also doing the same thing to me or my family member? That is not awareness. That is doubt. What I'm asking, or rather, I keep asking people in all these webinars and all the seminars that I do is this. Your right is to question. You can always ask your doctor that, is this medication relevant to me? What are the alternatives to this? What are the lifestyle modifications I can do in order to bring down the number of medications? These are the questions you can always ask your doctor. And if your doctor is not answering you, please change your doctor. That is not the correct way to do medicine. One. Second thing is, even if you are asked and you are being put on medications and all of it, review it. It's like this. Will you eat bhindi ki sabzi every day? You won't. You may like bhindi. Bhindi may be great and a lot of nutrients and all of that. But that's not something you will eat every day, right? You will review your diet. You will review your choices, your desires every day. Why not the list of medicines you are on? Correct? And anybody who does not review it, if you are again seeing a physician who is not reviewing your list and at least looking at de-escalation. By de-escalation, what we mean is that treatment always requires to be the point of treatment is never to increase the list. It is always to de-escalate the problem. If and when de-escalation is possible, always have this conversation of de-escalation with your doctor. That can the number of pills be decreased? And this is something that doctors owe it to their patients. They are not doing you a favor by doing it. I personally don't believe in giving a lot of prescription pills. I have had cases where people have been extremely unhappy with the few amount of pills I've given them, because they are like, this surely can't work because they're used to 2 pages of prescription. I gave a half page. So a lot of people have gone very unhappy from my practice because they felt I was under medicating them. But I rather err on the side of caution than go overboard. Next thing, what I would say about this is that coming to body awareness. Now, body awareness is something that through conversation that has been there in a lot of modalities from, of course, the first point of reference we have is, of course, yoga. There is nothing that gets you more aware and more present with your body than yoga does. However, that got lost in translation for a very long period of time. And then other things like anesthesiology and of course what we do in access processes also. Body awareness is slowly now coming back into not only an alternative but in mainstream medicine as well. where, I mean, access is advanced enough even to say things like ask your body. Now, what do I mean when I say ask your body? Ask your body is a very dicey term because your body doesn't have a, I mean, you, so there is the being, and then there is the body. There is the emotional, and then there is the mind and everything, and then there is, of course, the physical body. And we are constantly perceiving our physical body. This is one change in language that I always encourage people to do, is that to say that I perceive, not I feel. Say, for example, there is a difference that I've been diagnosed with diabetes, and there is a difference of saying I am a diabetic. When you say I am a diabetic, it becomes your identity. When you say it's a diagnosis, then it's just that, it's a diagnosis. Words have a huge impact. Use them very carefully and use them sparingly. Second thing to look at it is when we say body awareness, our bodies are perceiving, it's not feeling. When we turn it into a feeling, oh, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling blah, 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 we are locking that into our body. When you say you perceive, it is good for only that time period. Even if it is pain, even if it is discomfort, even if it is something else. Everything that your body perceives is an information. We are trained, we are conditioned to avoid pain. We are conditioned to not having to acknowledge any discomfort. But truly, that is our biggest information. Because what is pain? Pain is basically a localized or a little, I mean, it may be local or otherwise referred, or there are different kinds of pain. But it is basically an inflammation, or say something that has gone off in that place. It's as simple as when you touch a hot plate and you retract your hand. It is a painful stimulus. And that stimulus is basically telling you that it's not in your best interest to keep your hand there. So pain is always information. Pain is not something that you're required to avoid. Pain is not something, no, again, don't please go hurting yourself and beating yourself up. That's not what I at all imply. But it's also that when you are in pain, you require to look at that, what is that pain coming from? And or at least see a therapist who will ask these questions, these relevant questions, that what is this pain about? A lot of times pain can also have, so this is something that, somebody even mentioned in a seminar I was doing yesterday, um, uh, that everything that is there in our physical body, it is there in our energetic field first. Now, science is yet not that far where they can perceive things in your energetic body. It is, again, something that not everybody is open to. If you happen to be such a person that who's open to getting that energetic analysis, there are different people, there are different kind of modalities. There are access consciousness is just one of them, by the way. There are different kind of therapists that you can see who can work with problems and diseases which are in the energetic field. Medical science is not fully equipped to do that yet. I hope and wish that there'll be someday that we will be able to do that as well, where we do have a lot of technology that can scan the energetic field. However, the clinicians, the people who implement it, are not always open to it, because then some scientist has to prove it for us to be able to say that to and sell that to our patients and clients and everything. So that we still are not there. So obviously you are still considered the fringe element if you go into that energetic science, and you require to have that level of bravery to do it. However, even if you're not that kind of a person who wants to indulge in that, and you still very much want to stick with the mainstream modality of treatment and all of it, you can still look at it that, again, you can still at least look at this thing called, what I'm talking about, body awareness. Because everything that you do should include your awareness of your body and not what somebody is telling you. No matter how highly qualified and no matter how referred they come, never ever step down your awareness of your body. Now, this is a very simple exercise that they do in body classes and access, and I really like it. So for this, I mean, if you're comfortable, you can also turn off your screen to do this exercise. I'll, however, to demonstrate, I will do it myself, and I will show you. So I will keep my camera on. I request all of you to just stand up, whoever can. And if you can't, you can also sit down. So my mom, she may not be able to stand, she will not be able to stand up. So mom, you can just sit and do this. So please stand up and come to the balls of your feet. Okay? Come to the balls of your feet. And just like do a little bit of a rolling motion. Okay? Where you are slightly, loosened up. Okay? All right. Now come back to standstill. Now, tell your body, say if you have something in front of you, or you can just imagine it also, put an object or put a glass of water, whatever you may have in front of you, or even if it is the computer screen also works. Ask your body, would you like it? Do you like it? Do you desire it? If it is something to eat, even better, because that's the easiest point of reference we have. So say I have a glass of water here. I'll ask my body, do you desire water? Body, show me, would you like water? So allow your body to show you a yes. And how do we do that? So when you are on your balls of your feet, just see where is your body leaning towards? Is it leaning more to the front, or is it going more to the back? Okay. It may take a few days of practice, but you'll be able to see slowly that body, show me, what do you like? Do you want the water? So my body is leaning forward, which means it desires the water. You can also check if your body is going towards that object or going away from that object. Yeah. So Uncle says it's a powerful kind of sociology. Exactly. So this gives you a sense of whether your body requires it. And that again, body is not about what your mind is telling you to do. It's not about judgment. It's not about discernment. It's not a mental process. Body is more about here and now. So if you require a here and now answer, there is no better compass than your body. The other tool that I often use with body is light and heavy. What's true for you makes you lighter. What's not true for you makes you heavy. How do you look at light and heavy? Lightness is when you have an expansive, say, bring your attention to your chest. Okay. Take a deep breath. When that rush of oxygen, what that creates in your chest is your lightness of breathing. Say, for example, today I need to go meet somebody. When Uncle asked me about this talk, I did the light and heavy to see what this creates for me. Yes, of course. I mean, Sukhdeepak Uncle asked me something. I mean, he is a person who always keeps your interest first. So it is always going to be, light to do the most. I mean, most things he says is always light. But when you are coming to from that space where you require to see that, whether a decision or a choice is going to create greater for you, you can always use the lightness. If you have a contraction around your chest, not your head, not Go to your chest, your feet, your knees. Be in your body, not here. This here is mental gymnastics. From down here starts awareness. We are told awareness is here, awareness is not here. Awareness is down. So when you have that sense of expansion around your chest, that is your lightness. When you have a contraction around your chest, that is your heaviness. That choice may not create the greatest for you. Not again to go into, oh, I can't do that or I will not do that, but to be present and aware that, okay, this probably may not be to my highest and best interest. So these are the two tools I highly recommend that you use, and you use it to make your choices and your day-to-day decisions. Food, clothes, people, decision with money, decision with business. Your body has an awareness. Tap into that awareness. Everything we are told, and especially very sadly with medicine, is disempowering that awareness. You are not unaware. And encourage that awareness. Grow with that awareness. That is what I always say. Again, no right and wrong answers here. No right way to do it or wrong way to do it. But at least starting a different conversation where it doesn't have to be so dogmatic and one rule fits all, because it doesn't. I have been doing this monologue, I think, for 45 minutes now, and I'm sure I've bored all of you enough. So please, I mean, questions, and if I can improve myself in some way, I mean, please.
Okay, one little request for me, Anindita, if you can put, the major bullet points of what you said, and then let them ask questions after that.
Okay.
Because some people join late.
Yeah.
They're like A, B, C, D, Because I mean, I could do that for you, but better you do it.
No, I'll do it.
No, it's, you say it.
Oh, I say it.
Yeah.
I was typing it. Okay. All right. So first thing what I said was, of course, the undefining disease, not being ruled by the definition of disease. Second is being aware of the projections people have of disease. The projection can be institutional, can be individual, can be of your well-wisher, of your family member, of even your doctor. The third thing that I said is to be in and with your body's awareness. Always working with your body's awareness. And when I say body's awareness, the two things that I demonstrated, one was that forward, backward movement of your body. Like it's like, something, it is so similar to people who are used to pendulum. Like pendulum is used for dowsing. When we use a pendulum, what do? We see the forward, backward movement whenever dowsing is done. This tool basically uses your body like a pendulum. So it was quite interesting when I first did this. So yes, the tool of the forward backward movement of your body to see what is it that it desires. And the last one I used, last tool I gave was the light and heavy. What is light for you, what is true for you makes you lighter. What is heavy for you makes you, what is not true for you makes it heavy. So these are the 4 points that I covered.
Okay. So the main thing which I would say is that don't allow the disease to overpower you mentally, so that you give it more significance than it should. And don't allow people, people unwittingly tend to add to the doom and gloom feeling that you might have. So you define it more, right? So you're not willing to kind of let go of it. You know? Is that right?
Yes. That's
Okay.
right.
And then listen to your body. Interesting thing is, the thought which comes up is, do you want to become all right? Dr. Edward de Bono, in his work, he discovered that there are people attitudinally, those who want to become all right, they become all right faster than those who don't. So when we keep getting defined by the disease, somehow we are kind of holding on to it because maybe we are reacting to it too much or resisting it too much. And then people are adding more oil to the fire. Okay, so let the questions come. Milan ji has a question. Yeah, mute yourself, Milan ji.
Yes. Yes, sir. What you said is absolutely correct. That's why the children gets cured faster. The children gets cured faster than the elderly people because
They don't have a point of view about it. It's interesting how we frighten children about injections. They've never had an injection in their life and they are frightened of it. Why? Because parents threaten them. No, you better behave yourself, otherwise some injection lagayega. So when he goes for the injection, even though he never had an injection in his life, he's afraid of it.
Very much.
Isn't it? So we give him a point of view.
Papa, are you calling me sir today?
No, he's telling me.
I know that. But I had to pull his leg.
Okay, more questions for Anindita. And I'll let her answer, don't worry.
No, uncle, it's fine. I just had to point out that to my dad because he's my dad.
Yes, Reddy Garu.
Yes, Reddy ji.
How the stress in life contributes to your disease?
So this is, it's a very, everything that you have these days, everybody is going to tell you, from therapists to doctors will tell you it's because of stress. But nobody has an answer how to decrease the stress. So I think, of course, these morning conversations that Uncle does is, of course, one of the things that we can really do. Stress is basically nothing but your response first. And I've heard Uncle say this n number of times, that whether you will react or whether you will respond. The stress is always a reaction. And it's one of the primal reactions of the body. The fight and flight reaction is a primordial reaction in nature and in human bodies as well. So I do not believe that there can be that you do not have stress. I mean, if you're getting to that space, then it's a totally different conversation and you are in a different zone of evolution. But
I just want to add something here. See, not only do we react, but the resistance to what is happening, that causes more stress than anything. Don't you think so?
Correct. And what Uncle says about, response. Stress is often a reaction, but when you go into response, where you become an observer, you are an observer of the situation and you are not looking at its outcome or how you are invested in that situation. When you observe a situation, it allows you to respond to it, not having to react.
If you don't resist that situation, if you can look at it and say, oh, it's a interesting point of view. Now, when we judge it, then we resist it. When we resist it, there is stress. Am I right? So if you don't resist it, then you can be an observer, no? Because you are in a kind of allowance about it. All right. So Kunayan has a question.
Yes,
Dr. Kunayan.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And thank you so much, Dr. Anindita, for a great thoughts and so much powerful learnings. I have made a note of that. The question coming to my mind, Dr. Anindita, is that the latest research in the medicine world is about epigenetics. They call about even our thoughts through epigenetics. They have found that our thoughts can impact even the chromosomes of I think there is a specific term they use, histone.
Yeah.
So it has a specific, like what you say that the body awareness or the conversation with the body, etc. It seems through latest research on epigenetics are confirming that with our powerful thoughts, we can impact the genes, the DNA, the chromosomes. So do you have more insights on that?
Bruce Lipton, no? You're reading Bruce Lipton?
I
Yes.
don't know, but I have read long back that there's some research done on that.
Yeah, Dr. Bruce Lipton has a book called, The Biology of Beliefs. He's the one who's been doing that research, no? Yes, Anindita, please.
So, of course, our thoughts, feelings, and emotions affect the, so what you're talking about, histones are proteins. Histones are proteins. Proteins have a 3D molecular structure. All right. Our thoughts, feelings, and emotions affects every single molecular structure, molecular helical structure. Genes are helical structures. Okay. It affects each and every single one of them. So this is where what Uncle keeps talking about, an interesting point of view. That you neither are in the resistance, reaction, or agreement alignment. Because once you agree or align with something, once you resist or react to something, you are stuck with that point of view. And that point of view then keeps you where you are. And then it modulates not only your cellular structure, your emotional structuring, it modulates everything of it.
That makes sense.
So this thing of interesting point of view, that I have this point of view, is so effective, and it is so powerful and yet simple that it's probably its effectiveness is lost in its simplicity, because we all have this. I mean, I definitely had this belief, for something to be effective, it has to be a slightly complicated, but it isn't. So this is where it's extremely important to be in the interesting point of views of things. And you're very correct, Kunanji. This is something that science, medicine, everything is waking up to, that how much our beliefs are modulating our cell structure.
Okay, so we have two more people. One is Milanji, and then we have Sagar. They both have something to say. So
Before
Sagar,
that, just a quick one, just follow-up question, Dr. Anindita, that we know that we are the collection of the chunk of energy. Each and every cell has its energy. That is, the cells are also having consciousness?
Yes, every molecule has consciousness.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely.
yeah, go
Sagar?
ahead. No, Milanji also, he had raised his hand first.
Yeah. So about stress, I've got a very simple perspective. The specialists might find it absolutely foolish. When I get stress, I have seen that it is where my brain operates more than my heart. So what I do is this: I switch off my head and I operate from my heart, where we love to be happy and my stress gets somewhat addressed. Second thing, if I can identify the reason, most of the time I can do it. More than not, I can do it. So what I do is this: I stop doing that. I do the reverse thing, just a completely reverse thing. That's how I address my stress. Absolutely common man's perspective, foolish perspective, but I say give me enough result to handle my stress. Thank you.
Yesterday, I was doing this yoga with in my workout, and this was the down dog position, right, where you go and you touch the floor, and your hips are up, and you're this planting this thing. So what happens is your heart is over your head. When you're any position in yoga, a lot of inversions, the inverted positions where it is the heart is over the head. So in those positions, it's very, very interesting how you truly can't think when you are in that down dog position, or I'm not very conversant with the yoga positions, I'm just learning. So in that, I could see all the inverted position, where the position of your heart is higher than that of your head. that is your heart over your head. In inversions, it's very difficult to, be in the mind chatter. So yeah, that's also one more thing that we can use with our bodies. Whenever you're too much in your head, go down. Thanks, Dad.
Then heart is over your head, no?
Yeah, the heart goes over your head.
Yes, Sagar.
Good morning, Dr. Anindita.
Hi, Sagar.
Hi, hello. So good to have you here in our EMC group.
Yes.
So my question is very simple. It's my day-to-day habit and it's happening to me. It's about body awareness and food. I don't know what happens when I see pani puri and chatpate and things that I want to eat. At that time, I don't feel any body awareness. I just go for it, not thinking about anything, just go for the taste and the habit that I have. So at that time also, can I use this body awareness? Is it possible that body can feel that that it have to be avoided? Does that body have intelligence to avoid it, or just how can I just ask my body, do I have to eat it or ignore it? It's possible.
Yes. So who likes pani puri in your family other than you?
My sister, everybody like.
Exactly. You are not only aware of your own desire, you are aware of everybody else's desire.
Yes.
Okay? So how many people are you eating for?
My 4.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then people will be like, chalo, khana kha sakta hai. We often do that, We are so aware of everybody's desires around us so that is where I said in the talk at one point that your body perceives. It is perceiving everything. It is perceiving pani puri. It is perceiving everybody who wants to eat pani puri. It's perceiving everybody who doesn't want to eat pani puri. So, and it becomes very, very loud when it comes to food, because I think food is something which, it's one of the biggest desires. So you are constantly aware of everybody's desire. And especially if you're surrounded by people who love pani puri, then yes, you love pani puri too. So that is fine. One more thing I would say is never call it's my habit. You as an infinite being have no habits. It's only when you are defined and finite that you have a habit. Third thing about this is, of course, do that swinging exercise. Go to the pani puri wala and swing in front of him. He may not be too happy, but then you'll be a happier person.
Yeah, when I do that with ice cream, my body always goes forward. Never said no till
and then Farida auntie has things to say.
yeah. She's sitting here, Rudy.
I know she is.
Okay, anybody else? All right. Seems like they have come to the end of all the questions. So then I suppose we should end here. Thank you, Anindita, for taking out time, waking up early in the morning and addressing this group. And thank you for your contribution. I'm sure a lot of people have realized a lot of things by listening to you. We look forward to have more of you on these empowering morning conversations. So thank you, everybody. And we wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day and see you tomorrow morning for another session of empowering morning sessions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you once again, Anindita. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hasina ji.